Hey, welcome back to another exciting episode of YOML, Year Magical Learning. Today we're on actually the final dramatic ending of our favorite book, Humankind, part 5 of 5. So let's go.
Yeah, I'm pumped. We're on the final leg here. Ironically, this one's really kind of all about you a little bit for the
About
most part.
me?
So yeah, kind of. I
Okay.
mean, not you personally, but the idea of you.
Okay.
I was really hoping Snow was going to be on this one too, because it would have made it even better.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, just a quick recap of the book. No, if this is the first time you're tuning in for this particular part 5 of the series. Humankind is a book about it's subtitled A Hopeful History. It's kind of looking at humanity
Mm-hmm.
through the lens, the countercultural lens paradigm of instead of, if you peel back the layers of society and culture and all that other stuff, if you really got to the core of humanity, is it by nature evil, and dog eat dog, and all about like kill or be killed kind of thing, or is it more kind, loving, hopeful, and collaborative together? So this particular book takes the perspective of the latter,
Mm-hmm.
or the former, sorry. Yeah, it takes a really kind of countercultural take on the book, or on just what we are at our core. And really great book. Really enjoyed it. Obviously, wrote a part 5 reflection on it, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
this last one is the dramatic conclusion. And
Yeah. Can't wait.
the title of this one is "Don't Do It Alone." So that was why I said it's kind of an ode to you a little bit, and in a certain
Well, I
regard.
think I think it says it all that don't do it long. It's been because you can't.
Yeah, right,
Because you
right.
can't. I mean, the saying say it takes two to tango, right?
Exactly. So this particular reflection, made me think of geniuses, and personally for me, I'm actually going to start with the quote that the author has in this book that kind of spurred this thought. He said, evolutionarily speaking, being kind and copying one another scales, but being a genius does not. A genius may have one friend that they can teach and share their genius with. A person who is agreeable, kind, caring, and mirroring of their social circle will have 10 friends. Which one spreads faster, right? And it was that particular comment that that I immediately just resonated with me, and it was kind of like one of those, well, duh, no shit, like that makes so much sense. Like, when I think of like geniuses of like Elon Musk, people that we call geniuses, right? Einstein, Mozart, Van Gogh, Steve Jobs, these guys that are eccentric, that do things radically different, that have bold ideas and bold takes on life. And not that you can't and not be a genius, but like these guys that we hold up to this threshold of what we deem a genius in society, they're kind of like almost like a circus freak a little bit, like, people are like, man, look at that. Like, I mean, that's incredible what that person's able to do. But really, when I look at them, and I know that you and I have talked about this before in the past, but I just kind of feel sorry for them. They're just very lonely. Like Tiger Woods, he's just a lonely guy. Hell, I was watching Novak Djokovic uh, as Roger Federer was playing his final match, and he was just stone cold, no emotion, like, and it's like, I almost feel bad for the guy. It's like you're watching something really beautiful happen, and like, you can't ever just be in the moment and just be a human, and like, and I get it. His genius that comes out onto the tennis court is brilliant to watch. And I'm sure, he really puts everything into it, his heart and soul into it, but it's just sad to watch, and it, like, because there is another side of humanity. So I personally feel that like, most people that say they want to be a genius, they don't know what they're talking about, because I don't think they do. I don't think they want that life. I don't think they want the life of Tiger Woods, where he eats, sleeps, and breathes, Tom Brady, whatever. I don't think they want that kind of a life. Honestly, when you really boil it down to the core, it might seem great from the outsider perspective, but it's not. And as I kept writing on this one, it's, genius is not replicatable. It just isn't, but kindness is. So that's why, I feel like geniuses stand out because it's so different than the average human being, and kind of almost like I said, a little bit of a circus sideshow to go look at. But for me personally, culture, our culture tells us that Elon Musk is the guy that we want to strive to be. Richard Branson is the kind of guy that we want to strive to be. Steve Jobs is the kind of guy that we want to strive to be, right? And for me, before this whole journey, like that was what I strived to be. I was like, look, that's follow the model. I'll listen to all the podcasts. I'll read all the books. I'll try to do my own thing, and and be that rogue genius and not listen to other people. And I'm not saying that I'm even close to their level, because I'm not, because I don't want that life. But it took for me, after I lost Amelia and started this quest, and one of the things I discovered was the core value where I don't want to do this alone anymore. Like this, life isn't worth trying to be that genius and doing things by yourself. And when I started to live that life, and to live that core value, it felt better. It felt more natural. It felt more fun. It felt more like me. And it felt more like a human should be. And that was honestly what led me to find you. When I was like, look, I know that I can't do this by myself, and I don't want to do this by myself. And that was when we first connected, right? And then we, from there, it went on we went to mentor, 20 plus people in our core values quest we designed, and we designed meetup groups, and we're doing this podcast to share with other people. And I've written a couple books, and so I was really hoping Snow would be here today, because this is really, all about growing, doing this with people that you like to do this stuff with, and like, that's really what life's all about, and striving to never do it alone, and to do it alone is something that I'm, why I just took this new job that I just started today, my first day of this new job, right? Because I want to help other people, and I want to give back, and I want to coach and mentor and be a part of people's lives. I don't want to be the top producing, sales rep or something like that's just like the lone wolf that like nobody can understand how he does what he does. I just want to be there to help people and grow with them in their careers, and see where life takes them. And that's what's really important to me. So I'll kind of pause there. That's the final reflection of humankind, of don't do it alone. Like, it might seem like it's cool to be a genius, but at the end of the day, really what scales is kindness, because a lot more people want to be around people that are kind than they want to be around dudes like Elon Musk. I guarantee. I mean, how many friends do you think Elon Musk has? Like, actual friends?
None.
I mean, do you think he has any? Do you think he has one? Like, I bet he has.
He
one.
has no money. He has no friends.
I feel like he's got to have one friend, but yeah, I mean, that's fair.
I can see him having no friends. You're the one who bringing this topic, and I think I love this. I love this reflection title. It suits me well, right? And so I'm willing to bet that Elon Musk has no friends, like zero, literally zero friends.
I could see it.
Right?
Yeah. There's a lot of people that respect him, I bet. And there's a lot of people that talk nicely about him. But I don't know if
when you talk about really friends, it's like, let's say Elon Musk is no longer Elon Musk with the money. There's a friend. If Elon Musk gets to the point where he lost all of it, and he has a terrible disease, right? And he can't do anything else except for being alive, right? Is this guy, the friend, still there to help him up, like you did for your friend when he has his addiction problem? Yeah, that's a friend. I mean, do you think he has that friend? That's a friend. Anyone who say, hey, I know Elon Musk, I love Elon Musk, they love his money, not Elon. I am sorry, but for me, I think I can relate to this, because I think this is how I live my life. So before I go into my give my 2 cents. First off, congratulations on your new job.
Oh,
and I'm excited to I'm excited for you, and I'm looking forward to hear more good news and more great stories and great success from this journey. I'm very curious and intrigued, and I just want to put that out there.
Thank you.
So for me, it's like, the thing is, like I said, in the beginning, I didn't know the reflection you had in mind, but the title says it all. Don't do it alone. It's because we can't. We can't do it alone, because Doing alone means you are leaving yourself, or you're cutting yourself from yourself. Like you're not whole.
Right.
One of the saying I keep saying over and over again: if you made $1 trillion or a gazillion-dollar, but you can't tell a soul, can't tell no one, would it be worth it to you? I mean,
No, not at all.
right?
I mean, what's the point of money?
Exactly.
You know, I
And
mean, but
exactly. That's why I said you can't do it alone. So that's the thing is we as a human species are a part of a group. We are a Homo co-op. We have, it takes two to tango. You
yeah,
cannot do alone because it's not possible to sit in another
it doesn't just take two. It takes
take
hundreds
more,
and
like
thousands, and the more
at
the
least
merrier. You know,
two,
yeah,
at
right,
least two. When
right.
two, like you have one, have two person, right?
Hmm.
One person is zero, is lonely. Two person is a companion, right? When you have a two
Yep,
person, your level of happiness, your level of meaningful goes to infinity, from zero to infinity. That's how
right,
much it is, because without the other connections, right? Just one connection. Imagine there's one connection. You are lonely. We go to the prisoner, to the prison, and and this is, like I said, I said this probably like 20 times, but every time you go to a prison and you look at the worst criminals, right? When it did something so horrific inside the prison, their punishment was solitary confinement
right,
for like
right,
3 days, six
right.
days. It's like,
Yeah, I mean,
and they broke this like so seemingly like mighty, powerful person who's is out there to get against the world kind of deal. Take him like 3 days to break him, to break his spirit,
right.
right? You go to
Yeah,
prison, right? And in prison you have like the yard, you have basketball, you laundry, you do a bunch of stuff, right? But to go into solid to a I guess by yourself with no idea when the sun comes up, when the sun comes down. This
right.
is the worst punishment ever. That's why even the worst prisoner spirit can be broken by isolating that person. So
Yeah, you know
we
what?
are
You're
not made to be alone. It cannot be alone.
no, not at all.
You
And
if you are the last person on earth, you will become extinct because there's no way you can continue on. There's no way. Even if you have another 100 years, you won't last another month. It's just not possible, right?
yeah,
The thing
yep,
is, it's not that you are alone. It's like knowing that you're alone. Because let's say you're in a wilderness or whatever, right? You know there was civilization out there. There's a glimmer of hope that you
right.
say one of these days I will see my fellow man again. This is why you survive in the wilderness
Yeah,
for even years and even decades, even centuries, if you can live that long.
yep.
You can do because there's a glimmer of hope that you can see your fellow man again. But if you knew that you're the last person on earth, you probably won't last more than a month.
I mean, hell, you see it with
What's the point?
you see with couples that have been married for the Queen Elizabeth. Like, I mean, Philip died last year, right? And she's like, ah, fuck it, I'm out. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's like
Exactly.
it's
We are lost a part of ourselves,
yeah,
right? We are
it's
part
tough.
of a commune, right? A commune is, and we have been living in a tribe for so long that is beyond our new modern way of life, which is you live in the city, you work in these cubicles, and you go home and you do all this stuff. So we are being domesticated by this new regime of culture, right?
Right,
And it bucks the trend of the culture we had for hundreds of thousands of years, however long we
right,
are as a tribe, right? As a tribe, and one of the reasons why we become so great as a species is because of our mass sheer size. It's like a virus. You think about a person with like you saying something about what was it? Like evolutionary speaking, like being kind, right? And copying one on a scale, but being genius does not. So
right.
being a genius, like you could probably have one friend, but then that doesn't spread. But you have a person who is normal, regular, but it's spread like wildfire. You cannot contain that wildfire. This
Right.
is what human species are. It's like a sparks, right? Basically sparks, and it continued to grow like wildfire. That's why Neanderthals, that's why saber-toothed tiger, woolly mammoth cannot compete with us. With the sheer massive collaborations and cooperations that human species can bond together, and that make us as a species, and that what make us what we are today, and that's why that's our root, and we could not just cut it off. If you cut it
Right.
off, you feel like something's missing. So for me, this piece here is so fitting for me, is because I feel like that's who I am. Is I don't like look up to like the Elon Musk or the Steve Jobs, because I told you, you asked me who's my hero before, right?
Right.
I don't have a hero, because
Right.
I'm gonna do my own thing, right? And because I know there's certain aspects of what they have, and what a characteristic, personality or money or success, whatever. There's certain characteristics that I want, but I don't want everything. Therefore, I don't want to be that person,
Right.
right? I just want to be a normal person that is gonna be like me. So that's why we as a species were drawn to other people who has a commonalities or likeness. You think
Right.
about it, right? That's just why mirroring works so well. It's like, if you smile, I smile, because we have something in common.
Right.
We have the same colors, because and we are even more altruistic to the commonalities of the people we have. Like people say, there's like black versus white, and no, it's not like that. It's because you live in a society that's predominantly white, and yes, you're gonna oppress the people who are different from you. But imagine you going to Africa or going to another country, like an Asian country, or in other places where you are the minority. Yes, you will get oppressed, because it's our trait to bond together on our commonalities and
Right.
trying to defend that way of living. This is why war happens, is because you create this misunderstanding by somebody who had some kind of traumatic debt. Then they use that debt to manipulate other people to thinking they did something good. Say, hey,
Right.
you go to war, or you go do this bombing in the U.S. or in wherever, whoever you are. You did it because you had a cause, because you believe in that cause for whatever reason, whether it's true or not, that doesn't matter. It's a cause that you are doing yourself, or you're doing your friends or friends, not yourself, but you are doing someone else. If you're saving your family, you're saving your friends, or you're saving whatever. There is a cause that somebody sold you that story. That's why you did it. You didn't do it for, hey, I do it because it's the right human thing to do. No, you did because of the guy that you connected to, the guy that you say, hey, you're my friend since childhood. I rely on you when I was younger. Now that I'm able to do something, I will, even if it is to give up my life for to do a suicide bombing for the terrorists. Like,
Right.
everyone has a story, and they have their own reason why they did it. Same thing with, you go back to the Nazi in World War I, World War II, right? They believed they did the right thing by killing the Jews, because the Jews carry all these non wanted non wanted traits, and they want to keep the desired trait and whatever. It's to save their race or their likeness from being, I guess, whatever you want to call it, tainted, or get infected.
Right.
Think
Yeah.
about it. Like,
Yep.
let's say somebody's sick, right? You're gonna say, well, this guy has to stay away from my family, because I don't want my family to get infected.
Right.
So that's the thing, is we as a species, whether it's right or wrong, we are part of a community. We are part of a tribe, and that is in our history. That's in our roots that cannot be changed so easily. Especially, we only start debugging this kind of trend in the last 2,000 to 3,000 years. I mean, maybe I give more 5,000 to 10,000 years
Right.
compared to hundreds and even million years before. I mean, that's just we're talking about like a single hour in the whole year.
You know what's funny though is we talk so much about like the Edisons, the Henry Fords, the
Because that's we got
like
conditioned to do that. That's a new culture that somebody said you gotta do that. But the thing is, you went along with everybody because that's how. That's
I mean, they did build incredible stuff, but nobody said what the cost was of that. Like
right.
I mean, I admire. Look, I mean, I'm not saying that this world doesn't need Elon Musk's and Einstein's and Henry Ford's and all these people.
We don't. I'm gonna put it out there. We don't. Okay, it's nice to have them, but we don't, because the thing is,
right.
What's the cost? Do I need all these inventions? It's good that we have it, right? But if he doesn't come out with something else, will, I guarantee you, this is how technology comes. And it's not like Elon Musk and Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. They are not, even Edison. They are not the only one that came up with the idea. They are not the one with, actually, they're not the one with the original ideas. They just took somebody's idea and make it better, right? And so that is still setting on shoulders of giants. So yes, it's either them or someone else. It's gonna be someone else. But the thing is our life better? And do we thank them for them? Yeah, I mean, yes. But at the same time, what's the cost? What's the cost
for them personally?
And to us? Not only to them, but to us as well, because they are giving our society a path to follow, and that path isn't what we want. That path is to strive for things. You just strive for things that is not sustainable.
Right.
So it does affect us a whole lot. And so I'm saying is, what's the price?
That's a good point. I mean, it's a really good point. Which I don't know if you saw this the other day, but your boy Yvon Chouinard gave away all of Patagonia to help fight climate change or something like that. I can't remember the exact what he did, but he literally he became a non-billionaire.
So is he stopped making? I mean, he can keep the money as long as he stopped doing it.
No, he gave away the money, and he said he's gonna.
I don't care if you give away the money. If you continue to make the damage to the environment, I don't care if you give away money. If you know that you did wrong, what should you do? You stop. I will respect him if he just say, okay, I wrote this book and I tell you guys this is bad, therefore I stop. I respect you. But to say, hey, I wrote this book because I know this is bad and I'm trying to do less bad, so therefore you should praise me as a hero, or I give away my money or whatever. Still, you still continue on doing the bad stuff. Let's say I'm selling drugs to people, right? And I'm giving away the profits.
Well, a lot of people do
selling drugs.
I mean, that's a good point. I mean, a lot of these drug companies do that.
I don't want hell, keep the money, but stop. Right. I still respect you if you do that. Hey, yeah, I make a mistake. I see it now. Now that I see it, I stop. Right. Don't tell me that you continue on and wrote a book and tell people that, hey, this is what you should do is do less harm. Don't shoot 10 people, only shoot 5. Right? So I shoot 5 people, and the people that I shoot, I took the money that they would have taken away or eaten or because of whatever go. I'm gonna take that, I'm gonna feed the other 5.
Right. The cigarette companies go to fund, lung cancer research or something like that. Like, we're going to give away all of our profits to go fund lung cancer research. Yeah. No,
that's what I'm saying. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. It's just like, I'm gonna shoot 5 of you. I'm gonna take the resource you have taken up, and I'm gonna give those resources to the other 5, so that they have twice as better of a life.
Right.
Right. So to harm the environment and saying you're not, saying that's a way to do things.
Right.
And they give away the money. I don't care if you give away the money. Keep the money. Keep the money, but stop doing it. Man, I mean, the thing is, I don't.
Yvon Chouinard really gets you riled up.
He does. I mean, to me, it's. I don't know why. I don't.
I know why. I mean, I totally agree with what you're saying. It's just hypocritical. I mean, you're looking at things and you're going like, look, I get it, and I appreciate you wanting to like not be hypocrite, but like what you're doing is still, it doesn't solve the problem. Like the problem you're trying to fight is what you're doing in the first place. Like fight that, I mean, I get what you're saying. It is really funny. I know you and I both didn't really love that book, but no, I wanted to like bring this back to you a little bit in terms of one of our missions, what we call balance, which is our mission, is meaningful work and meaningful relationships, right? You cannot, it is impossible. Look, even having meaningful work and doing it by yourself, it's
not meaningful.
Lonely.
If you do it
it's
by
not
yourself.
fun. Yeah,
it's
exactly.
not meaningful.
I mean, this is, I don't write these things for myself. I mean, part of it is, I mean, look, don't get me wrong. Like, I mean, these are great reminders. As a matter of fact, like reading this today, and having this conversation with you,
there's certain things that is so much. I mean, you and I can read books all day long. Like I read books, you read books, right? It's the understanding that I have for these books and these reflection. It just isn't comparable unless I'm talking to you. I mean, that's what I see, right? And so there's tremendous value in just talking to the other person as a sounding board and say, yeah, I think you're right, or no, I think I'm missing something. Or when I say to you something and it bounces back as kind of like, okay, does it make sense even coming out of my mouth? And the guy's, you're just asking me about a question and trying to clarify something, right? I see the kind of word I was saying, and that creates a more of a reflective perspective on what I think, and it reaffirms or kind of disconnect with what I truly believe, right? And so that is so much more than just trying to read a book and say, "Wow, this is my only perspective." That only get you so far, but in order to expand that horizon, you have to talk to the other person, and this is why having this year of magical learning episode podcast excites me so much. And for me is every single time I got on here, we probably talk more than we should. It starts at 15 minutes, and now it lasts, until we have to go to, we have to go to bed. But that's the point, right?
Right.
It's so much more that I just don't think I can get that kind of understanding without talking to another person, especially another person totally. that understands you,
right,
and has the same common interest as you.
100%. And like in that, like when you and I, like it reminds me of I told you I used to listen to that How I Built This podcast all the time, right? Like, and man, I can't tell you how many, I would venture to say 90% of them, the co-founders that start out these businesses of How I Built This don't finish these businesses together of How I Built This. And there's some breakup along the way, somebody exits, 3 or 4 years into it, or 2 years into it, or whatever. It happens every single time. And that's because they started out with the outcome focused of accomplishing a project together, right? Like that's different than what you and I started this whole thing together with the idea of building a culture first, number one, and then building a culture around meaningful work and meaningful relationships. And that's where our relationship grew. So whatever we produce or don't produce, like I have 100% faith that I will be doing something with you for a long time, for a very long, significant period of my life. And I will, and it will always be fun, right? Like whatever we produce out of that, I mean, I don't know, maybe the outcome becomes one of the stories that are on How I Built This or not, but it's kind of irrelevant. Like, that's not what this has ever been about. This is not what we care about. Like, this is literally what we are doing right now is we're living what we care about, which is what we're building the Clubany ecosystem around, is doing exactly this. Like, it doesn't have to produce revenue. It doesn't have to make sense. Like, we've talked about this before,
exactly. And so
like,
this is why I say we don't need the Elon Musk or the Steve Jobs.
I don't want to be Elon Musk,
because they can, even without them, right?
I don't want to blitz scale a business.
For work, you still have meaningful relationship, and that will give you the enjoyment and fulfillment that you need. I mean, think back to the Mexican fisherman, right? Does he need Elon Musk? Does he need Steve Jobs? Does he need the iPod in his pocket? You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying.
He'll be able to do what he likes to do, and be able to share it with his family and somebody else. It reminds me of The Old Man in the Sea. I just finished that one the other day. top of mind because my dad, I was having dinner over my parents' house like we do regularly on a lot of Sundays, and my dad was going through my Audible account because he likes to steal all my books and stuff and listen to the stuff that he wants to, and he goes, "Oh, The Old Man and the Sea," and he goes, "What'd you think of that one?" That was the Ernest Hemingway book that I read recently. I was like, "Dad, that book was awful." I was like, "Man, that sucked." And he was like, "Why?" It was like, it was a good story. Like you go out there and you go fishing by yourself, and sadly you can't bring it back to show off all the stuff, but it's about enduring, it's about whatever. And I'm like, no, I got it. But like my reflection on that book was exactly what we're talking about. The whole entire time he kept just saying like, I wish I wasn't by myself. I wish the boy was here. The boy that was always helping him the whole entire time. Like, cause it sucks.
It's a miserable existence.
It's miserable. Like, and he loved fishing. Like he loved it all. Like he
but he can't share it, right?
He can't share it with anybody.
He can't share. That's why the question I asked is, if you like, you make $1 trillion, but you can't tell a single soul, you can't tell anyone, is it worth it?
No, I mean, what is $1 trillion? A bunch of paper. I mean, who cares a shit? Like, I mean, if you
exactly,
like, I mean, who cares
you
about
making
paper?
6 figure. I want to make 6 figure, make 7 figures, whatever it is. If you were able to make 6 figure, you can't tell anyone, is it worth it?
I mean,
it's not like you're helping anyone. You're just making money, right?
Right. No, I mean,
is it worth it? Most people say no. It's a miserable existence. I mean, I would rather make enough money and I can share with people. Go buy them, a couple beers or whatever. Like $100, $200. That's the enjoyment of life. Is so much more than making 6 figure, 7 figure, but can't tell anyone a single soul about it.
Yeah.
And then that's actually more of a burden than a gift.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with any of that. I mean, it's just life. Doing life alone sucks. I mean, why do you think people get married?
Because it goes against it goes against our nature. That's
Right.
why it's miserable. We cannot do it alone. And if you think you can, you're being fooled by the new regime of culture.
For sure.
Right.
100%.
For whatever reason, we're being tricked into because you know how Mother Nature have domesticated us to become this kind and altruistic type of individuals, because we are collective. Our Mother Nature has done that, right? You know how we're talking about the experiment with the snowpox or whatever in Alaska, right? To kind of, if they have any kind of hesitation, you bred that one, right? And eventually they change into this more docile kind of species, and we are domesticated by Mother Nature in that way, and we become docile. And we become so, and it's one of those things where we can relate to each other by our micro expression. Our micro expression can tell us whether or not I'm agreeing with you or I'm disagreeing with you. It can also tell us if I'm lying to you or I'm being honest with you. You can feel the feeling that I have by the tone and by how I say things. Even if I pretend to be mad, you can sense that I was pretending.
Right.
Because that is something that I think this is the strongest bond from a person to a person. In the human species, that's the strongest bond that we have that the other species, they just don't have. And this is why the ideas, the meme, right? The ideas and all these, I guess, concept is get passed on from generation to generation. Like one person know how to fish because of our ability. 9 other people. It would take, a week, 2 weeks, even a year if they couldn't fish, if it's too complex. But all 10 we know how to fish. All 10 we know how to fish.
For sure.
Right? That's the beauty of it. But if you take somebody who isn't have this kind of connection, this kind of bond, they can probably teach 1 or 2 among 10, among 100, whatever. It could not spread. But for us, it is 100% spreadable. It's like we are like the virus of the old, right? Which is like we spread like wildfire that cannot be contained. Whether the Neanderthals are bigger, smarter, stronger, faster, whatever, they could not outcompete our rapid spreading of ourselves and ideas, right? Because that's what makes us so much, I guess,
That's our dominant. That's our superpower
We we
is spreading
we
culture
become
and
dominant because there's no power that can compare to the massive cooperation.
right.
Because the thing is, even a Neanderthal, they are each individually, they're much stronger, much smarter, much
I mean,
faster
can you
than
imagine
us,
going face to face to a
but they
lion?
couldn't connect, right? So having, like, let's say you're having two, 10, 20 giant versus 200,000 humans, right?
Right.
You can't compare that. And even the double your size, we exponentially, make our size go up exponentially. So you cannot compete. Just like wildfire, you cannot contain it. It's just too fast for us to contain.
Right.
It's so that to me is the thing that we have, and that is built into our nature, to build into our DNA. So to do it alone in the last, I guess, 200 years, 300 years, we have become completely like re-domesticated by this new culture. However, it came into being a new culture of, hey, you gotta be like a robot, you gotta do that. So it kind of bucking that trend. And so whatever the book is saying, like uh play, the opposite of play isn't work, right? So
Right.
play it equates to learning. You only learn when you play, and
Yeah.
the opposite of play isn't work. The opposite of play is actually depression,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
You're
so
right. Yeah.
and
I
so
mean, I'm
so
not gonna
so
lie.
if,
Like
if you if
I
you
mean,
don't play, so in today's society, if you don't play, you work. That means you're either happy or you're depressed.
I
That's
mean,
what I get out of this concept that the book is telling me. Because if you tell me that if I'm learning because I'm being playful. Like they say, like most of the smart animals, they are very playful. Playful
right.
is one of those things where we learn at the best, at our best when we are playful. It's because we're experimenting with no rules, and no restrictions, no wars, right? So
Right.
we are learning so much more, much more, in a state of play, and that's why we like to play. Once we play, for whatever reason, our minds expand and absorb all the things that we do. And that's why we learn so much so fast when we're a kid versus an adult. We don't learn anything just because we were structured with these rules and rigid requirements of society that we can't learn. And so to learn, you have to play. And to play means learning. So if you want to, and that's why in our company, play and learning is actually two of our 7 core values.
It is.
But it's
I mean,
supposed to be one, because you
yeah.
cannot take play away from learning, because
Well,
you can't learn
I
something
think if you're
that's
doing it
not
right,
fun.
well, it all goes together. I mean, right?
Right,
If
because the thing
you
about, if something is so bad, right, it's hard to learn. Uh,
it's not even just that hard. Like I was gonna say, today is the first day of corporate onboarding, and I'm learning all this stuff that I don't want to learn right now.
yes,
And I will sit there energized. I mean, you give me a book to read or an audio book to listen to. I mean, I've had days where I've done 12 hours, of an audio book, or like, 6 hours of just reading a book or something like that. Right. Like, I mean, like it's not even blink an eye, and probably, I'm a little probably fatigued at the end of it, but like, it's not the end of the world or something like that. Right. Like, 2 hours of staring at a computer screen going through tutorial videos of stuff, and
it's
I'm
like
like, oh my
hell. It's
god,
like
like I mean,
eternity. I know
it's like,
exactly
get
what
me
you mean.
out of here.
That's why I
It's
hate new projects. I mean, the thing is, new projects are
brutal
fine. It's just like these
if you
corporate
chose it.
policy, this and
Right.
that.
Right.
It's not something we want to learn. Therefore, it's not play. It's just
No, it's just
miserable. It's not
boring.
work. It's just
It's learning
miserable.
about
It's just
GDPR
depression.
and
Yeah.
and data compliance and security breaches, and
Yes. Yes.
and you're like, oh my god, I get it. Like, just stop it. Like, I'm not retaining any of this information. I know that
No.
you're just
Yeah.
checking a box, but like, none of this is resonating in my head. Actually, I will say this though. So modern day culture in general, I feel like is bending back, but not all the way back to what we're talking about. Like, it's very much so. I hear a lot of people like talking about being their authentic self, or living their truth, or whatever word you want to put behind that. Like, that's becoming more and more of of a thing where I think people are
Well, I
understanding like,
think
hey,
I think
look,
we
I
push
do need to
people
have
into the
this.
corner and they resisting.
Right. So there is the pushback that's people going, look, I want to be me and I want to be my unique me, right? And that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing that I don't think that society has gotten fully back to, that what we're talking about is going, I don't want to just be me, but I want to be just me with intangibles that make up me. But then do it with other people that also align with that, right? Like, I think that's the next logical progression. That's what we're trying to do as well. And that's where the whole don't do it alone comes into play. It's
Mm-hmm.
one thing to be your authentic self, but when you're just doing that and not not never around anybody else, then you're just an asshole again. You know what I mean? Like, then you're just like, well, this is just Chris. Like, I just want to do whatever I want to do with with whatever whenever I want to do it. Like, like that's not how.
No, I think
That's
you just bastardize the concept of being
exactly.
authentic. It's you're not being authentic at all. You're just being an asshole. It's
Exactly.
not the same thing. It's not
They're
the
not
same thing.
moving. If you're not doing it with other people and for other people and enjoying that aspect of it, then there is no point to this authentic self idea,
Because
right?
you're
Like,
not. That's not authentic self. That's
right,
not you. You just
right. I
you're
mean,
just trying to make a point or whatever. You just have, I'm mad at the
I'm just
world.
radical candor, like,
I'm
this is
mad
what
at
I
the world,
do.
right? Radical candor, you smell like
But
fart, right? Well, because you're better, because something is grinding your gear. So
right,
you're not being yourself. You're just being the
just being an
opposite of being
asshole.
yourself. You're just being an asshole just because
Right.
you see something you don't want, right? But being yourself is different. Being yourself is like, who do I want to be? And that's to be a person that is well liked. I
Right.
guarantee you, there is not a single person on this earth that do not want to be liked by another person.
Do you
You can
remember?
hate another person, but if all that goes away, you want the feeling of belonging, and that's being yourself. That's being
Do you
yourself, right?
remember? Do you remember Darren Hardy's entrepreneurial roller coaster book when
Mm-hmm.
when he was talking about who was it? It was like his dad's buddy that was like his mentor or something like that,
Mm-hmm. Coach, football
and he was,
coach,
yeah, his football coach, yeah. And
right?
he was on his deathbed, and he was like, don't miss the point, like,
Yes.
and like, you can chase after all the money, the fame, the whatever you want to chase after, but at the end of the day, when you're like when you're in your last couple hours or years or whatever, you're gonna look back and
Yeah,
go,
you're
man,
on deathbed.
I
Say,
wish I would have
hey,
spent more time with
I make
True,
255 million sales. I wish I make one,
right? Nobody's gonna
265.
give a
Like,
shit.
no one give a
No,
shit. See, I'm
no,
a deathbed. I regret things I did not do. Right?
yes,
It's
I
not a
mean,
thing
yeah,
that
I mean,
I did.
or
Is
time you didn't spend with people that you cared about,
That's what I'm saying. You
or
regret the
time
time. You
yeah,
regret
yeah,
the thing you did not do, which is spending time
right,
with your family, spending time with the people, or for the most part, like you're going to say, okay, that guy that I hate so much, I don't know why I hate him,
right.
right? And now I don't feel like I hate him anymore. That's your
Yeah,
true self. That is your actual true self, because you held a grudge for whatever reason. It's not you just hold on to that pain for whatever reason. It's not who you are. But
yeah,
when you say, hey, there's nothing left for me, for whatever reason, that you cannot hold on to that anymore. And whatever that guy you hate so much your entire life, like, you know, that guy's a pretty good guy.
yeah, yeah. What's the point? Who gives a shit?
Maybe I'm an
Like,
asshole.
yeah, I mean, it's just funny, like, how it always comes full circle back to just do the stuff you like with the people you like, I mean, like, and that's really it. I mean, it's if you're not
Yes,
doing,
that's
if
what
you're
I'm
not,
saying
and
is
it's both equally important on both, like, do the stuff you like, because then you'll have higher spirits, and then you'll naturally attract other
yes,
people, that want to do the same stuff, and then you guys can start to create together because you guys are both doing stuff that you guys like to do together, and then it snowballs from there, right? But
right.
like,
But
it's
you
not
think about it, like, let's say you and I were stuck in the well, right? The well is so wide that neither of us can reach from body to leg to on the wall to climb up. How do we
right.
climb up? We have to lean
uh
against each other to move up, because
yeah,
only when you press up that I can move up, and I press up and you press against me, you can move up. That's the only way to go
right,
up, right? And
right,
so that's the thing is, you have to lean on each other to make things that would be impossible for a single person to do. So there's a lot of things that is basically being opened up just because you have other people that it
Right.
is inside of your network. The
For sure.
more, the more people in your network, the exponential possibility will rise. And so
I mean,
that's, to me, is the essence of why humankind is who we are. And that's something that we should not just get rid of it just because society tells us so. And this is why I think people are starting to fight back and seeing the oppression becoming too much of a bad thing, right? And some of
mhm,
them are starting to wake up.
100%. It's a, this project, the Your Magical Learning project, is the perfect case study for what we're talking about. I I find I love this stuff, and I find value out of all the things that I'm doing that lead into this thing on the screen here
Hmm.
and the conversation that we're having, right? But I can guarantee you, I mean, and I without a doubt, if I didn't have you and Amelia or anybody else to do this for and to do this with,
Hmm.
like I would have stopped a long time ago. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
there's many a times that I wake up and I'm like, oh God, I just don't want to do this today. And then I go, you know what? No, like, I like this conversation that we have, and I like spending the time with my daughter, and I like doing all these other things. And it's more important for me to do it not alone, and to keep pushing myself to do this stuff with you guys, and then wherever else this leads us, right? Like, it's that's what keeps us going when we want to, like, create great things together, is that accountability to somebody else,
Right,
and
that's the connection. That's meaningful relationship, because, like I
yeah.
was saying, anyone who ever done anything that is so horrific, it's because they thought they did someone a favor,
Mhm.
right? And mind you, like, these podcasts that we're doing is at 8 or 9 o'clock in the
Right.
evening, which is like at the end of the day after all
We're
the
both tired,
other things,
yeah,
right?
yeah, right.
But this is
Right.
this is what we do.
Right.
So it's not like we have the energy to do at the end of the day. It's just something that, because it's things that we want to do, right?
Right.
It builds its own energy, and
Absolutely.
this is what we call meaningful work, because it is what drives us. Versus, hey, I have to put energy into getting myself to talk about this or talk about that, and voicing my opinions and uploading this to YouTube and all that.
Right.
That's the thing is, once you have something that is for you, it's play, you learn, and you are well fitted and energized to uh,
More.
do more of it, and you
Right.
can do it indefinitely.
Right. It's sustainable. It's sustainable. I mean,
Exactly, it's
is what it
sustainable.
is. It makes it sustainable. And I don't know about you, but I feel like that's a great place to end.
Yeah.
Our part
Great place
five
and great
of
time. I could be running out of
the
time.
human. No, that was yeah. I mean, that's you know 5-part reflection of humankind, wrapping up. But great book. If you guys have
Definitely a
never read
good
it,
book. Yeah.
yeah, get out there and check it out.
Definitely recommend this book, because I think if you look at the reality of the book, right? Don't look at the other hype and all the culture. Like, look at as it is, right? Give it a
Right.
chance, give it a consideration. Is this true? What is this author trying to do? Is he trying to give you something that is convincing you the other way or not? Just look at the evidence by itself and see if you can see for yourself, because he's not telling you anything different than what we already knew. We knew
Right.
that, we're just not like type of mind about these kind of thing. It's just being buried by all these noise that we as society is basically push on us. Just like he's saying, play is learning and work is depression. And you look at the people at work today, right? Majority of people, he's saying, like, only
Sucks.
13% of the population who are in the workforce, it is satisfied with their work. That means that there's 87% are dissatisfied or hated their job, and they are in depression.
Yep.
So work equates to depression. Learning, playing is learning. So you
Right.
want to learn, figure out how to play, and you want to get out of depression. Stop working, right? Do play, and play can get money too. You
Yep.
can make money from playing.
Oh yeah,
So
for sure.
that's the misnomer that I think people need to wake up to. Say, like, work isn't the only way to make money. You can actually make money with play. Play is just an effort that you enjoy. Work is
Right.
is an effort that you don't enjoy. It's the same kind of action. You
Right.
act on something. You put an effort into something, but something you want and something you don't want. That's the difference.
It's the difference between willpower and value power. And awesome. Or purpose power. How about that?
Yeah.
But all right. Well, great conversation. Thanks for joining. The last question for everybody for Humankind was, what would happen if you invited others to share more into your world? Something to think about. If there's things that you're doing that you love, like go find other people that love it too, and see what happens. Like it'll and I think you'll be happier for it. So and if you're anything enjoy like the stuff that we like to do and the values that we care about, let us know and come on down to Clubany and we'll get you involved in some meetup group thing or whatever, or you can come hop on one of these with us.
Come hang out.
Come hang out. Yeah.
And I will, require you to do anything. Just come hang out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining, and we will see you all tomorrow.
Yeah, hopefully another exciting book.
Yeah.
All right. See you.
Of course. See ya.
Of course. Good night.